Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening in the world. Yes, it's me, Jake Dollery, here with the Power Hour on Radio Wigwam. And today's show is another special show where we're going to be celebrating some of the best psychobilly music from the 80s and 90s. Now, one of those key players in the psychobilly movement was the Coffin Nails, a psychobilly band who originally formed in the second half of 1985. After just a month of rehearsals, the band supported the Stingrays in Reading, the hometown of the Coffin Nails, and my hometown too. Soon the band were playing gigs at the Clubfoot, a London nightclub in a psychobilly scene in the early mid-80s. It started the heyday of psychobilly since 1982. The Coffin Nails have released 12 albums since their formation in 1982, and despite a 3-year absence from 93 to 96, are still going strong today. So, it is my honour and great pleasure to be chatting with none other than the founding member and lead singer of the Coffin Nails, Steve Klunky Clarke. Hi, Steve.
Oh, yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good, mate. Great to have you on the show. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good.
Been a few years.
A long time.
So what we're going to be doing is picking out some of your favourite tunes and trying to fit the normal format of my little show and find out a lot more about you, the Coffin Nails, and the past, the present and the future. But we're going to kick off the show with one of your chosen tracks. Would you like to introduce it?
Big Iron by Mike Ness.
Here we go. So that was Mike Ness with Big Iron. So, yes, as I said, I've got a special guest with me, Steve Klunky Clarke. Do we refer to you as Klunky or Steve or Humongus?
Klunky or Humongus?
Rightio, I'll go with Klunky. I'm more comfortable with that. So, started off in the mid-80s.
Yeah.
Talk us through how you all got together.
Me and Tony went to the same school together, Stoneham.
Tony Zire?
Yeah. We decided we would put a band together. Graham was... Where was he? He was 2 years below me. No, three.
No, I think he was
4 years.
No, he wasn't that much younger. I think he was 2 years below me, which would
no, he wasn't.
Was he younger than that?
He was younger than that.
Wow.
So he was. There was us three, and we decided we try a band, and then we had to get a drummer. So we advertised, found Toby, and that's it.
So where did Toby come from?
He come from Tylehurst. He was, I don't know, but he was
just appeared out
from
of the ether.
Nowhere. Yeah,
yeah. I remember Toby. In fact, I remember Graham very well, and I knew Tony very well because we were the same year at school.
Yeah.
So right, you started rehearsing. What happened next?
After about a month, we started to play professionally, and then we got.
So what sort of venues in Reading were you playing at the time?
At the time, it was the After Dark.
Yeah, good old After Dark.
After Dark, Majestic.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's the only places we played.
Yeah, I managed to play Majestic once, and I never got to play the After Dark until quite recently.
Yeah. And
there was I think it was a charity gig, and there were like 5 venues all doing it. And everybody went to the other gigs and not mine.
Yeah. Well, we played the Majestic, and Steve Wright come and introduced us.
Really?
Yeah.
Well done. So I met Steve Wright when the DJ, yeah?
The DJ, yeah.
I met him when I was about 8 years old.
Did
when
you?
He was at 210, yeah. 720 radio.
That's not going anymore, is it?
No, I don't think it is. No, it got taken over by Heart. We don't mention that station on this station. So, Steve Klunky, any memories from those early days of the gigs?
Yes, I can tell you a few. We were playing the Clubfoot, and we were coming home from the gig, as you do, and we were going round and roundabout in a van, and suddenly about 30, 40 girls started banging the van, and we thought, our luck's in here.
Yeah.
And then we found out later that day, that night, that Ben Volivant out of the Volpier or whatever his name is, was playing Curiosity Killed the Cat, was playing in the Hammersmith Odeon.
Yeah.
And he was...
So these girls thought that you were a decoy vehicle with Ben in?
Yeah. And they thought we were him.
Oh, nice.
And they were banging the van.
Did any other banging go on at that
No,
night?
no, not at all.
Excellent. So you must have gigged quite extensively back in those days.
Yeah, really a lot. We played. Our first few gigs were with Stingrays, Guana Bats, Meteors.
Because I mean they
Restless.
were the key,
we played with everyone.
They were pretty much one of the key players,
Yeah.
weren't they? But you managed to get yourself up the ranks in the key players of the psychobilly scene.
Yeah.
Because I can remember my band actually supported your band in the early days of both of us. We split up 6 months later, and you went on to become a successful rock and roll artist.
I don't know why, but but everyone likes us.
Yeah, well, I mean, who doesn't like a bit of rock and roll?
Yeah.
Let's face it, that's what keeps the world going round. So you're gigging extensively. So when would you say you got your big break? When do you think it really kicked off for you?
About 6 months after we started.
Really?
We got a release on ABC Records. Do you remember the Clubfoot albums?
Yeah.
We got a thing to do that, so
yeah. And for anybody listening wanting to check out, there's loads of YouTube footage of the Coffin Nails in their different lineups on YouTube, which
yes.
I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
Looking back, seeing one of my old schoolmates,
Yeah.
being successful while I sit here under my stairs. But anyway, so after you kind of started getting onto these compilation albums, when did you kind of get signed as the Coffin Nails with a full album?
1987. So
that quick?
Yeah.
Wow.
We got signed by Nervous Records to. We done 3 album. No, we signed for a 3 album deal.
Yeah.
But we pissed them off and. Yeah.
Record companies are pretty easy to
done
piss
one
off,
album.
really. Okay, well we'll talk a bit more about that later on. So next up we have
Long Tall Texas, Bloody.
So we were chatting about the very early days of the Coffin Nails.
Yep.
And everything seemed to take off really quickly. So you became quite a significant act, not only here in the UK, but also in Europe.
Yeah, we played. Our first gig, I think, was it Belgium or Holland or somewhere like that, in about the same time, 87. And then after that, we played Germany nearly sort of 10 times a year.
Wow.
Every year. So
was that 10 gigs or 10 trips?
10 gigs. Well, sometimes we played 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much, we played 10 times a year. So
would you say that you were bigger on mainland Europe than you were in the UK, or was it about
much bigger?
What was it with those crazy
It
Europeans?
was really good then.
Yeah. Because it's funny, my guest a few weeks ago, Charlie, he's got a really big following in Germany as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it must be something with British music and Germans that...
I think they just got no music over there.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I just need to launch myself over there. So, you kind of... We're sort of like at 87 here. So how long were you gigging for in and around Europe for?
I don't think you've ever stopped.
Really?
We've never stopped.
And there's still a fan base out there for you.
Still mad for it over there.
Excellent. And you also managed to play America as well.
Yes, we played 10 times, 12 times. Played CBGB's, the Knitting Factory. Do you know that?
Yep.
We played in the East Coast and we played on the West Coast. Cool.
I would have thought the West Coast would have been. The surf dudes and all of that.
No, it wasn't.
Really?
It was all Mexicans. The people that were into it are Mexicans.
Really?
Yeah, Mexican.
Wow. It's weird, isn't it? You kind of I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, West Coast, surf's up, dude. Let's get some rocking and rolling going on. But no, hey, it's a Mexicana. Brilliant. So you've basically touring the world with this little
not
band.
the world, but
Brazil, America, and Europe. That's it's not China.
No,
but
we've been asked to play Japan, but we never played there.
Really?
Yeah, I'd love to go to Japan.
So would I. I was so far away though. But I'd like to do it.
23 hours.
Yeah. You'd have to break the journey.
I don't like flying. I hate flying.
I don't mind flying, but I don't like flying for too long. I mean, America is kind of like the max for me.
Yeah.
It's like 7 or 8 hours, and then you go, no, I want to get off now.
No, the West Coast is about 11 hours, isn't it?
10, I think.
Yeah.
10, yeah. But anyway, we digress. So, Steve, I've had, I wouldn't say a large turnover of members of the band, but yeah, there's been a few members over the years.
We've had 10, no, maybe 15 drummers.
15?
Yeah.
Have you got a Spinal Tap thing going on there?
I think we do.
Yeah.
We seem to have one a year.
Wow.
Well, not one a year, but it's only recently that
things have
slowed down.
Yeah, stabled out. No, stabilised.
Stabilised, yeah.
I was looking for.
But they've really gone through.
Yeah. So, because Graham Farr was the original bassist.
Yeah.
And then he moved on because before he left Coffin Nails, he was in a band with me.
Yeah.
The old Dead Legionnaires. You don't need to look that up, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably not to your taste. But then you got your bass player who you say he's been with you ever since.
Ever since, yeah.
Wow.
Scott Milsom.
Yeah. But yeah, drummers after drummers after drummers.
Yeah. Drummers after drummers after drummers.
Would you say that they're an unreliable bunch, or just circumstance has just led, or a bit of both?
Both.
Bit of both.
A bit of both, I think it is.
Well, I can remember Toby. He got an opportunity he couldn't really turn down.
Yeah, that's the only reason he left.
Yeah, he kind of got poached by the Meteors off of you, if I remember rightly. We mentioned that you played in quite a few countries across the world.
Yeah.
Which would you say was your favourite, or one of your favourite countries?
One of my favourites is Spain.
Spain?
Yeah. We played in Catalonia.
Catalonia, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not all flamenco dancing and bullfighting then? They like a bit of psychobilly.
Yeah. We play there. It's every year. It's June, July sort of time.
Yeah.
And we play there every year. Well, we did play there every year.
Mm-hmm.
And they put us high up the bill.
Nice.
And it was really good.
So you say every year, is that still going on, or?
It's going on every year now. Every year.
Well, when was the last time you guys played?
95.
Right.
And the only reason I stopped because I had strokes and...
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to move on to that. So, yeah, I can remember seeing a post on Facebook, and somebody posted up that they'd found you unresponsive in your tattoo shop.
Yeah. It wasn't my tattoo shop.
Yeah. And I thought, no, it can't be one of my mates. He's too bloody young.
Well, it was, but it's loads of copious amounts of...
Yeah, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I mean, I've got my vices, but they're thankfully currently legal, so
yes.
I stick to just the beer and cigarettes. But I'm not going to say more than that.
Yeah,
just in case I incriminate.
Just in case you
incriminate myself and get sacked.
Yes,
and I don't want that. But so a full rock and roll lifestyle led to
a very large lifestyle.
Yeah. I take it you've calmed down a little since.
I've calmed down in every way apart from alcohol.
Well, you know, you've got to keep up some vices.
And I eat a salad with everything now.
Yeah, with burger and chips.
Yeah.
So when we were we started out in our musical careers pretty much at the same time, and the band I was in, we chose to go down the fun punk route.
Yeah.
So what influenced you into going down the rockabilly route?
It was the music I listened to. It was the next step was to play the music I liked.
Yeah.
And the influence I liked.
So the old 50s rock and roll,
but the 50s rock and roll progressed into psychobilly.
Yeah. So who were your main influences?
The Meteors.
Yeah.
Guanabats.
So all the bands that you were looking up to, you later on ended up sharing a stage. That must have been a bit of a moment when you're going out on stage next to the band you've admired.
Yeah, it was something really weird. That was.
Yeah, Because they always say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but what were those lads like to do?
They're really friendly with all of them.
Yeah.
Every person on the set list, I could say they're my friend.
Right,
apart from Brian Setzer.
Oh, shame. Right, as I promised you earlier, I have a little surprise for you, and I would like you to listen along to this.
Hi Steve, remember me? Hi Jake. Remember me, Jake? That geeky kid you used to sit next to in art, Mr. Eastcoast class. Who would have thought I'd sing in one of the coolest bands in Reading? I think from 1984, from the first rehearsals to leaving in 88, it's one of the best days of my life, Steve. Our ambition at first was to sing at the Paradise Club, remember? And we ended up our first gig there, supporting the Stingrays. Then I think we played there loads of times. Every Psychobilly band that ever came to Reading we supported, because we was the only band in Reading at the time, weren't we? And then we had so many gigs there. Then the Harvester gigs, the Majestic gigs, the Butt-In. Remember the Butt-In, Steve? Mucking Fagic. Never thought possible that we'd end up at the Paradise Club. We did it so many times. And then the Clubfoot. God, we was a fan favourite at the Clubfoot.
Yeah,
we weren't the best of bands.
Played nearly every month.
But I think we played there so many times because
no, it wasn't.
the fans just liked us. They loved you anyway, Steve. That was part of the main thing. You were such a character, always were, and still are.
Yeah.
And then, what else did we get up to? I remember the 2010 reunion. How good was that? So many old friends and family and people I haven't seen for so long turned up to that gig. Anyway, I'd just like to say, Steve, it has been a pleasure being a singer of a band that stayed the test of time for so long. Nearly 40 years now. Can you imagine that? 40 years that band's been going. Makes me feel old. Well, we are old now. I'm knocking 60, 2 years, and I'm 60, mate. I'm the oldest out of the lot of us, I think. Anyway, I'd just like to say, love you, mate, and congratulations for keeping this band together and keeping the original Coffin Nails spirit that we've always had, which is just have a laugh and enjoy ourselves. And you still do that to this day.
So that was my little surprise for you. I spoke to Tony. That was, just for the listeners, that's the original lead singer of Coffin Nails, Tony Zaya, who used to sit next to me in art.
Did he?
Yeah, and I can remember when I found out that he was lead singer of the Coffin Nails after he'd left the band. And I was thinking, what, little Tony? And then I see all these pictures and videos of him,
his voice,
all buffed up.
Hench,
I know, but so anyway, what do you think of that?
I forgot so many gigs.
We had a lovely voicemail sent to me by Tony Zaya, who was the original lead singer of the Coffin Nails. Yeah, and he mentioned about the Butt-In and the Harvester. What are your memories of the gigs there?
Not very much. I can't remember much. I can remember some of it, but it is all a blur.
Then that means you must have had a very, very good time.
Very good time.
Yeah. But you were saying that it was kind of a favourite of yours to play at.
Yeah, it was. We played there about 4 times. We played there. It was an underground gig. Only about 200 people were there, but it was really good atmosphere. Yeah. And the landlord always got up with us. At the end of the night, he always got up and sung a song. He did.
Do you know what? I think for me, I've always preferred going to smaller gigs. Where you're talking a max of like 500 people, like 200 people in the right size venue can give you an absolutely awesome atmosphere. Yeah, I always enjoyed those kind of smaller gigs, either playing them or being at them. Yeah. So where are the Coffin Nails at now? Because you've obviously had some health problems. Yeah. We've had COVID and all of that. So where are Coffin Nails now?
We're doing 2 or 3 gigs a year. Yeah. And that's. I want to do more, but commitments with the other band members and
because you were saying that your drummer, you kind of share him with somebody else.
Yeah, Albert Lee and Hawkman, and he's in loads of bands, and the bass player's in loads of bands. He's in Skinnister. Have you heard of them?
Can't say I have, but
no, they're a good band.
Are they similar genre, or is it something a bit different?
They're folk punk, sort of folky, sort of.
Okay, yeah. Because I look at some of how some musicians, including some of my own friends, have kind of taken a big left turn into a completely different genre, and you think, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Whereas myself, I've kind of kept to pretty much what I've always done, which is just try and knock out a half decent rock tune.
Well, I started off on rock, and then I've gone jazz and funk and
funk and jazz.
Yeah.
Never had you down as well as soul boy, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, band that's been going 40 years.
Yeah.
You've still got a huge fan base.
Yeah.
You're still gigging, although it's
not as regular as we did, but I used to do it for the fun. Exactly for the. Like Tony said, we do it. I used to start doing it for fun,
yeah,
and I'm still doing it for fun,
yeah.
And the girls, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't seem to attract that many. So if there's any lovely single ladies out there that'd like to get in touch, yeah. So so 40 years. Well, I mean, I'm coming up to 40 years since my first gig.
Yeah.
That'll be next year, my 40th year. And we've. And I still plug at it, and I do it like you because I love it. Yeah. It's just that sense of achievement. I'm not going to become a millionaire. I'm not even going to become a poundaire. Yeah. But it's just... Well,
I'm not become a millionaire, but it's what I like doing.
Yeah. That return of validation and smiles on people's faces is the reward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when you get up in front of a crowd of 2,000 people and
they're all cheering... Clunky, clunky.
Well, not Humongus.
Humongous. Yeah. Well, you're not as humongous as you once were.
No, I'm not.
You've certainly trimmed down a lot.
I lost 2 stone.
Well done, mate.
That's having strokes.
Yeah, not my recommended.
No,
not the recommended course.
I wouldn't recommend it either.
So, do you have any gigs planned, or is that kind of on the back burner?
It's on the back burner at the moment, but I think you'll see some more gigs from us in the future.
Yeah. I'll do my best to be there.
Yeah, I think you'll see us for as many years as I can play.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Any new material on the horizon?
We're doing not an instrument, a Motorhead cover.
Which one? Or is
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Love Motorhead. As a big favourite on my show, mainly because I met him a couple of times. Yeah. Such a lovely man, Lemmy. Unbelievable. But sad loss. Right, now, as we come to the end of the show, normally at this slot of the show, I play one of my own tunes and I plug myself and I tell everybody that they can follow me on Twitter at JDRock66 or they can follow me on Instagram or Facebook and they can find out more about me at www.jakedollery.co.uk. However, I'm not going to play you one of my tunes. I'm going to play you one of Steve's. And Steve, would you like to introduce your tune?
It's called The Dead Don't Get Older. It's my favourite Coffin Nails track, and it's by us, of course.
Indeed. Let's really like to thank my special guest, Steve Klunky Humongus Clarke, for coming in and chatting to me. Steve, it's been a pleasure, genuinely.
It's been really nice to come in.
It's good fun, isn't it?
Really good laugh.
Good stuff. Anyway, this is Radio Wigwam. I'm your host, Jake Dollery of the Power Hour, and it's time to say goodbye. So, as I always close, love, peace, and keep rocking.
This is the Power Hour with Jake Dollery on Radio Wigwam.
Apologies for the sound quality on this week's show. Had a few technical problems. But hey ho, Steve was a great guest, and you can catch out the Coffin Nails at coffinnails.com and on Facebook. Love, peace, and keep rocking.